You're listening to my aimless conversation with Jeff Cosetta. My guest today, Adam Belue. This one's a little bit different than the previous episode, admittedly. We start off by discussing my bad math skills and how we worked together either 17 or 27 years ago. You'll hear that. Adam also discusses his love of football, specifically the Green Bay Packers. Adam's a big sports fan, and I ask him the tough questions like, who's the better quarterback, Favre or Rodgers? And then things kind of get a little bit heavier. We talk about Adam being an introvert and any social anxiety he feels when trying to interact with new people, mostly girls. Because then switch to dating and how Adam feels regarding that. And then we kind of end on a positive note, talking about his love of Taylor Swift and her music. But before we get into that, I am happy to announce that my first guest and co-host, Casey Tremblay, has given birth to a healthy baby boy. Casey, from the bottom of my heart, congratulations. I am so very happy for you. And on a side note, before we jump in, please feel free to share, rate, review this podcast. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, jfree82, my handle on both of those platforms. And just share the show because we want it to grow, and, any suggestions, hey, you want to be a guest? Slide into my DMs. It's cool. So with that, without further ado, let's have an aimless conversation with Adam Belue. That rhymed, and I didn't even intend it to. So great. Let's get into it. You and I have known each other since 2004? Has it been that long?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you the year.
Okay, so I started at Olympia Sports, I believe, in either 2004 or 2005. So that's how long it's been for me. As I started out in the Fairhaven store,
Right.
where you were the assistant manager. So we've known each other for probably 27 years.
No, that's terrible math, dude. That's not
17
correct.
years. Yeah.
There you go.
I can talk. I can't do math. See, this is why I need you. This is why you're here, is to get the specific stuff. Yeah.
27 years ago, I was 13. So
27 years ago, then I was 11 or 12. Depends what time of year it was. But yes, exactly. I was. That's what I'm saying. I've been working at Olympia Sports since I was 11. What is up with Olympia Sports with their child labor laws? Let's talk about that.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not there anymore, so I really could care less about what their child labor laws are.
And I absolutely, I absolutely love that, because for the longest time, I personally, I have friends that still work in retail, and not that it's a bad job, but things are becoming, technology is changing at the pace that it is, and all these places, unless you're a specialty shop, and I think Olympia Sports might be able to kind of still pigeonhole themselves in, but you see tons of retail stores going under. People are buying things on Amazon now. It's easier. It goes right to your door. So I'm glad you finally got out of that. I know as far as career-wise, you took at one point a typical 9-to-5 job, correct?
Correct.
And not saying anything good or bad about that, but let's not talk about the job itself. Let's talk about having the weekends free, because you're a big football guy.
Yes.
You're a Green Bay Packers fan.
Absolutely.
Which I have one of my oldest friends. Actually, I was talking to him over the weekend. He randomly called me, and he reminds me a lot of you, just because he's a Red Sox fan, and he's a Bruins fan, and he's a Celtics fan, but he hates the Patriots. He's been a through and through Green Bay fan for the longest time. And I just think it's pretty funny. His name is also Jeff. And he just called me randomly last Friday, and we were talking. He said, "Oh, you'd get along with my buddy Adam because you guys like the same sports teams." He's a big Sterling Sharp fan. I think it was Sterling Sharp. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's straight up just a fan of him, and that he's been a Packers fan. And I've known him since 1998. So I've had a Packers fan friend longer with him than I have with you. But it's just weird. Two of the people I know that I'm friends with are Packers fans. It's quite interesting.
There's a lot more of us out there than you would think. Because I actually ran into somebody that, a mutual friend of mine, that I saw him at the gym a while back, and he was like, "Oh, I was that Packers gear on or something," and he was like, we just started talking about the Packers, and I was like, dude, there's like sometimes I would run into people at Olympia and I would say something and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Packers fan." I'd be like, "Oh, okay." Like there's more of them out there than you think.
That's amazing. I have to ask too, while I'm here, we're on this subject as far as Packers fans. So you've been a Packers fan for pretty much your entire adult life, right?
Yes.
So which greatest Packers quarterback of all time? We going Favre or we going Rodgers?
I'm going Favre. I was that was the guy that got me into the fandom, basically. Him,
that's awesome.
Reggie White when he went to Green Bay, but Favre. I mean, that's the guy. I disowned him when he went to Minnesota. I told my mother to get rid of all of my stuff of his, and she didn't, luckily. So I still have a couple of old jerseys.
That's awesome.
But when he went to the Jets, I was okay. But to me, if you go to Minnesota, Chicago, or New England,
it's done.
I can't. You're dead to me. Like, sorry. Like if Aaron Rodgers leaves, or if they like trade him, or do something stupid and get rid of him, and he goes to like Minnesota, they won't go to Minnesota or Chicago unless they like cut him and he like eventually wants to go there. But I hate the rumors where they're like, "Oh, he's gonna go to New England." I'm like, dude, he's gonna be dead to me if he goes to New England.
Oh man, that would be. I'm so. Here's another thing I want to point out, just because I don't think we've ever really discussed it. There's a guy that on social media. I'm not going to name names here, but he's a friend of yours that I don't know him, and sometimes I'll see you post something, and he is just such a troll to you, and I can't stand it. I'm like, dude. Not everything revolves around, especially back in the time with the Patriots, not everything revolves around Tom Brady. I still think Brady is probably, in my lifetime, probably top 5 quarterbacks, that I've ever seen. But
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not going to, I can talk to you offline. Again, I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to throw shade or spill the tea necessarily on this podcast, but no, I think it's just one of those things where, so for me, just to kind of give you some background, I actually started liking, I forget what it was. I think I started liking the Miami Dolphins back in the day, which because I was into like the quarterbacks. I really I'd gone to a couple of Patriots games and whatnot, but I was not really into football. And then my uncle gave me a Dan Marino card one year for Christmas, like a whatever Flair or Topps or whatever the card, the trading cards used to be. And it was it was sealed. And I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. This guy must be the big star. So I started like becoming a fan of Dan Marino. And then when I was younger, Ace Ventura blew up. And Dan Marino was in that. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's the best. He's with Jim Carrey. He's, Ace Ventura. I'm like, a 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid, whatever. Like now I'm starting to get into sports. And then, the Tom Brady thing kind of happened when I was working for Shaw's Supermarkets, where on Sundays, we would put the game over the loudspeaker in the store when it was like on whatever it was, 98.5, the sports, whatever the channel was back in the day. But, it was just interesting. So it was right when that Bledsoe Brady switch happened, and so it was kind of like a bonding experience with me and all my friends, like listening to the Patriots game, and that's what kind of then turned me more to the dark side, if you will. But I want to point out, I don't know if you've been yet, or if you're going to have that on your bucket list, but if you ever get a chance to go out to Lambeau Field,
I want to go.
So I travel for work I used to travel for work for my current company. And there was actually a presentation I had to do in Green Bay. And I stayed right near the Brett Favre Steakhouse, the hotel there. And I had about a six hours in the morning. I didn't have to do my presentation till about like 2:00 in the afternoon. So I ended up taking the tour of Lambeau because it's all like shareholders and stuff like that. It's all people that can buy into the team. It was really, really cool. It's like you go through the tunnel and they pipe the noise in as you walk out and stuff. So I definitely say, once this pandemic ends, dude, bucket list item, certainly have to do that. I highly recommend that. You should check that out.
Yeah. The guy that I know that I ran into at the gym, he went a couple of years ago to a Packers game and he showed me like all of his photos. He's like, dude, you got to go there. It's absolutely amazing. Like I do want to go to a game. I don't like the cold weather, so it would have to be like week 1 probably.
Yeah. Well,
But
it's
it would,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I would definitely want to go, and they basically like there's nothing they do nothing in Green Bay other than like
Right.
there's nothing to do there basically. I mean, so they basically like shut the place down for the weekend. It's kind of like I'm a big college football fan, and
Yep.
my father's from the South, so
Yep.
they basically do the same thing down there for college football on Saturdays and even high school football on Fridays. They shut the entire place down. It's everybody's at the game, everybody's watching the game. Like we do nothing except watch football.
I mean, that's pretty awesome too. So yeah, one of the other things when I was traveling for work, I actually went. So I don't know if you're a college basketball fan as well. You mentioning college football, but I flew into Lexington, Kentucky, and I had to do some stuff over there. And oh my God, like I went out with a sales rep for my company, and we were at a bar, and it was like wall to wall college kids, like everybody. And it was like, if I had been like 10 years younger, I'd be like in heaven because there was like gorgeous women everywhere, like these college age girls. And I know nothing about college basketball though, so I do watch a lot of college football, especially on Saturdays when I come back from. I do karate in the morning. I have karate from like 7 to like 9, and then I get back and then I run my errands and I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day. I got my exercise in. What do I do now? I'll watch some college football. So who's the team that you're rooting for college wise?
Well, my dad's from Alabama, so we're big. It's weird because I don't know how this happened, but I have a couple of family members that went to Auburn, but my dad loves Alabama Crimson Tide, so that's my team. That's
what's their slogan? Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, yes.
Yeah,
and they're really good in college basketball this year, so I'm loving that too.
That's awesome.
I've got quite a bit of championship gear because like the Patriots, Alabama wins every year basically. So it's kind of like if they don't win a title, it's a disappointment. So
all right, I'm ready to check in my man card real quick right here because I want to ask you. We are in March. Did March Madness start yet?
No.
Okay.
The tournament. Well, the tournament. All the teams that made the tournament got announced on Sunday. The tournament starts on Thursday, I think, with the play-in games. They did the schedule a little different this year because they're all in Indianapolis. They're in like a semi-bubble. They've had a few different arenas, but they tried to get all the teams together so that way they could limit the spread. Because I mean, if a team ends up getting an outbreak, they're gonna
it's done.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because a friend of mine that I work with like usually sends out the brackets, and I hadn't checked my email for a couple of days, so I just wanted to make sure I wasn't
a little later this year. So because I know somebody that normally does a pool too, and I normally get in on that and get aggravated after the first couple of days and rip my bracket up and throw my money out the window. But I haven't gotten one either, so I think it starts a little later this year. So I think the schedule is a little different.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's
everyone down there, have them quarantined. So.
Well, yeah, just to let you know, I do the same thing. I print my bracket out. I pick my teams, whatever. We're in this huge pool. And then I look at it, and then I look at the first week, and I'm like, rip, I'm done. I try to pick just like, it's weird. Like I sometimes pick like an underdog team. Again, not knowing anything, I'll be like, oh, this is the seed. Okay, that's way too low of a seed. I'm not going to pick them. These guys are kind of on the cusp. I'm going to pull them for the upset, and just never works out for me. I think one time we have a first place, second place, and like last place, like that win. And I think I ended up getting second to last place. And I was so mad. I was so mad.
Yeah, I had that one year too.
I was like, dude, if you're gonna lose,
second,
can you just
third and dead last? And I was like rooting for my teams to lose so I could at least get my money back. I was like, if you finish dead last, you get your money back.
Right. That's all you need.
It was like hey, people's like fun. Wives that had never watched basketball before. And I'm like, oh, I did worse than them. Excellent. Well, they're picking like, oh, that's a cute team name. And their colors are better. And I know someone that went to that country. That's that state. So, and I'm picking like, I watch basketball and I can't.
Well, it reminds me of, I don't know if you're a fan of The Simpsons, but one of the old school episodes, I think it was like the first like 4 or 5 seasons, Lisa helps Homer by betting on football, and
Yes, a football game.
she
Yeah,
just picks the teams based on like, oh, it's the
yeah,
the Chiefs versus the Rams. Well, the Indians were bad and they were hunting the animals, so pick the Ram. Like all these.
yeah,
Oh, it's so funny, and I'm like, that's how I should just pick like my
yeah. And they were
bracket.
like hanging out all Sundays, and then as soon as football ended, he didn't want to hang out with her, and she
All
got like
right.
mad.
Well, so yeah, so that's exactly why I want to come back around to this question. So, how does it feel, or how did it feel, just from your vantage point? So retail is tricky. Some people like love retail as far as like the hours it goes. I don't think anybody loves retail for the customers. Let's put that out there first. I think there's something. I'm not judging, but I think there's something inherently wrong with you if you're like, oh my God, I get to go fold clothes all day and get people to yell at me. I think that's, I don't think anybody really truly believes that. However, for me, once I left, so I left Olympia, I want to say in 2006, and I started working for another retail company, just because I didn't get along with somebody in management, but I'm not going to rehash that. We'll talk about that offline because I don't want to sip any tea right now. But I ended up from that second
Was his
retail
last
job.
name a building?
What is it?
So was his last name a building?
It was her. So,
Oh, okay.
but
No.
it's not Carla. I'll say that it's not Carla.
Oh,
So,
well, I mean, how can you
no, she was awesome. She was
love
awesome.
Carla?
But no, I ended up going to Pac Sun retail, and then I ended up coming into my current job, which was back into like fall of 2006. But just from going from that, first of all, just the pay scale change from going from retail, where I was an assistant manager at Pac Sun, to like having a entry level at this tech company. Like it was already like $20,000 more a year than like what I was going to get. But then it's like I was trying to rationalize it. I'm like, well, should I do this, or should I go for this, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 like job? And to me, it's like the weekends, I get them free. I can watch football. I don't have to work on Sunday. I miss out on potentially time and a half or anything under that scale. But again, if you're management, your salary anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So to me, I feel like even though I had a bigger commute with the 9 to 5 job, the pay differential and the fact that I had weekends off was like key to me. So for me, I just want to get an idea from you. How was the change from going like from who knows? And I guarantee you, like you were probably working like every other Saturday or every other Sunday.
Oh no, I was working every Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
So just that kind of like tip that on its head. What was the kind of like the good and bad of going from I don't want to say like a random, but I mean like theoretically with retail, especially if you're in a mall or a plaza or whatnot, you have to go by mall hours. So you could be working, and again, malls were kind of, even in the last couple of years, kind of on the downgrade, but like 10 a.m. open or 11 a.m. open, whatever the case may be, and you close at like 8, 9 o'clock. So you could work like the morning shift or the afternoon shift, or you do double shifts.
Oh yeah.
You work the whole entire thing. So I mean, there's a little bit more of a randomness to a schedule, if you will. I don't think you can unless you have a good crew and you all work the same, like pretty much the same schedule every week, or it can just be alternative like scheduling conflicts and whatnot. So I just wanted to like get an idea from you how you go from I'm working this week, I'm working Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I'm coming back in on Sunday. I have Monday off, Tuesday off, and then working Wednesday through Saturday again, to being like Monday through Friday. I know what my work schedule is. I can plan. Like, I guess overall, are you a planner where you can like plan stuff like, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to get my workouts in. I want to do this. I have a set structure, if you will, or you kind of just, I'll fit it in wherever I can fit it in,
I'm a planner. I like to have everything kind of laid out, and I think it's because I did retail for so long and I was so used to having that ridiculous schedule where every week was completely different for the most part. I mean, sometimes I'd get to the point where, my manager was being kind of lazy with the schedule. He would, copy and paste, then you'd get almost the same schedule every week. But it's weird because I find it was a lot harder to try to make plans. Not that I make a lot of plans, but it's a lot harder to make plans with people who have an actual like 9 to 5 Monday to Friday job. They don't get like I get a random Wednesday off, and I'm like, oh, like I want to do something on Wednesday, and nobody has a Wednesday off.
Right.
They all have the weekend off, and they all have like a bunch of stuff to do on the weekend, and I'm working on the weekend, so you end up missing out on stuff on the weekend unless you plan it out and happen to get a weekend off or anything like that. I did like having like a day off in the middle of the week. Gave me something to look forward to. Like I know with my 9 to 5 eventually it got to the point where like I'd work Tuesday to Saturday. So I'd get like Sunday and Monday off every week, and like by Saturday I'd be like, oh, thank God I got 2 days off, and then by Monday I'd be like, shit, I got to go back to work, and I got to work 5 days in a row now. Like,
Right.
I was so like I would have loved to have like a day off in the middle to have something to look forward to in the middle of the week, but then I just progressively realized that I didn't like the 9 to 5 job. So like as it got further and further along, I'd get to like, one week I'd get to like Friday and I'd be like, oh, like I really want the weekend to come. I really want my days off. And then by the end, it was like Tuesday and I was like, oh shit, I gotta do this 5 days in a row. Like, I'm not gonna do this any longer. So, but that was just, the job wasn't a good fit for me. I don't know. I think I'm so used to having that ridiculous schedule that it's weird. I like you said, I don't miss the customers getting yelled at. I mean, some of the people were really nice. Like I'm the type of person that like, if you want me to go out of my way and help you, you have to be like nice to me back, like show me some respect. And like if you're a jerk, you're not getting my best effort, which that's not what you're supposed to do in retail, but whatever, that's human nature. So
well, the customer's always right.
No,
that,
the customers are not always right.
Right, exactly. That's
a
such a bullshit.
lie.
It's so bullshit. Like
that's incorrect.
Right.
That is not correct at all. They are probably never right. They think they are entitled to anything they want, and like they can negotiate pricing and negotiating and get things. And so
that's exactly the point.
It's a tough job. It's definitely taxes your people skills. And when you're an introvert and have social anxiety, it's not the job that you want to get into. But hey, that was stupid on my part. But hey.
So I mean, let's get into that a little bit. I wanted to talk about the whole retail thing, but let's talk about you can
go back into you can go right back into the retail thing.
Yeah, no, but I want to put a pin, because I definitely want to talk about the social anxiety and the introvert, because you seem very into it, like right now. Like you seem very personable. You seem kind of lively and fun. So I want to kind of come back to that. But your point that you were making before was the customer's always right. Like we had locally for us, there's a Target in Swansea. I don't know if you heard about this, but
I worked in Swansea for 8 years.
Oh, so you obviously you worked right next door
until the Swansea Mall closed. And
right,
I gotta say that I missed that store so much, because at probably the last like 2 or 3 years we had the best staff. Like it was unbelievable. Like everybody got along. It was a bunch of like, it was like my manager was probably, I'm trying to think, he's probably about 5 years younger than me. Like tremendous guy, like super, like great guy, kind of easygoing, like let me do my thing, let everybody kind of do their thing. And then we had a bunch of like either high school kids, college kids, like they all kind of get along. It was a great staff. Like I miss them so much. Like I hate the fact that we had to close, because it took a while, but like we got, at that probably the last year, we had the best people working there. Like, and it sucked because nobody came to the mall. So, but it ended up being like a hangout, and you were like, oh, these people are like freaking awesome.
Well, and that's what I was going to go back to before too, when you said that you have a random Wednesday night off, and then it's nobody's around. So it's almost like you create that clique, for lack of a better term, that group with that bond with the people that you work with.
Right.
So even though it's kind of one of those things where the old adage is true too, where it's like the people you work with, like you get along with them the best because you're all kind of doing the same thing. You have the same grievances with you're all doing the same tasks.
Yeah.
So to your point, so now you wanting to go out, it's like not that you even have to drink, But the fact that's like, oh, let's go out to like, a restaurant or a bar or whatever and just hang out. And it's, like the age group is a little bit different too, where it's
That was
like,
the problem.
high school and college, you have to kind of, and that's a tough thing too, is, figuring out, because I'll be totally frank with you. My brain still thinks I'm 18 years old sometimes. You know what I mean? I'll be going out and be like, oh, that girl, she's cute. And then I have to be like, wait a second. Let me do again, as you already know, you've already pointed out, I'm horrible at math. So I'm trying to like do
Yeah.
okay. So what's half my age plus 7 is the appropriate.
Yeah. And like, I don't know about you, but I can get away with being like,
Well, you got a
especially
baby.
if I shave, like,
Yeah,
like,
you look like
this,
you look like you're
like,
17 if you shave.
yeah. I mean, I still get carded, like if I actually drink, which I don't drink very often. So, but like, so I look like I'm 25. So like,
That's cool.
I get like 25, but like, so, I mean, basically like if a 25-year-old liked me, I could get away with
You
that.
could
But
pass
like,
for
are we
that.
gonna have the same thing in common? Like, are we gonna have something to talk about? Like, probably not. I mean, that's the thing. Like, once like I'm still friends with a couple people that I worked with at Swansea, and they're like 20, 21, 22-year-old females. Like, I don't have a whole lot to talk to them about because we
Right.
don't work together anymore. So like you said, we had so much to talk about because we could air the same grievances. Like we had things that, we could talk about from work, we could talk about like customers, not that we ever did that.
Yeah. Well, same menial
We could talk about other employees. We could talk about like something that went on at work that,
Yep. Or even at the mall, whatever. Like,
yeah, like, oh yeah, like, oh, anything that was crazy that went on in the mall, like shoplifting or just random stuff. And like, now it's like, I don't really have anything like to talk to them about other than, hi, how are you? Like,
right. Well, and plus they're probably at that age, you said 20, 21, they're going to end up, I don't want to
yeah,
say
like,
unfortunate, but once Corona, eventually everybody gets vaccinated and whatnot, they'll probably be want to go out and party, go clubbing. I don't know what kids do nowadays. So that's exactly my point. Like,
I don't
okay,
know either. So
21,
yeah, I
like, what
mean,
was
like,
I
even
doing?
if
I
we
was going
hung
to the
out,
bar.
like, I'm not hanging out. I don't really want to hang out with what 20-year-old.
Right. And I'm in the same boat as you. I'm not really a drinker anymore. I very, very, very rarely drink right now. Just, I think once the novice wears off, like, oh, I'm going to go out and like party and no, like there's no good that comes of that.
Yeah,
Um,
I've never been drunk. So
right.
I just want to
Well,
throw
so
that
there you
out
go.
there.
That's okay.
I've never gotten drunk, and the reason why is because I had a sister who came home drunk a few times, and I watched her, and I was like, that looks terrible. Like, why
That's
would I
not for
want to do
me.
that? Like, yeah, I don't want to go into detail, but like I saw
Nope.
some things, and I was like, why would I ever want to do that? Like, that's not cool. Like, and like I have such a low tolerance that literally, if I have like one drink, it like makes me a little I'm a little buzzed and like I'm a little like more talkative and like a little more free. So that's all I really need. Like I don't need to go past that. So
Well,
like
it's
just
funny
give
you
me
say that.
one and that's fine. If I want to drink, give me one.
And
And we're
then
good.
that kind of like for you said loosens you up, lets you like a little more talkative. So that's kind of cool. I like that. The
Should have
fact
had one
that
before I came on tonight.
did you?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say no, because you've actually you're pretty vibrant right now. You're very like engaging.
Yeah, because I
You're
know you.
talking well, and I think that's the same thing because you and I've kind of had some talks offline. I first want to point out, just to get back to it, if I were to shave, I'd look like Fester from the Addams Family. So that does me no favors. I got to keep the beard going. Secondly, you said RIP to the Swansea Mall. I just said RIP to the Taunton Galleria where I worked for that
Oh
Olympia
yeah.
Sports.
Yep.
So I totally agree with you.
I only worked there a couple times, so I don't have a personal connection.
Yeah. So yeah, that being said, let's talk about some of the social anxiety or just whatnot. I mean, again, you're very personable. Again, you know me. I get that. So maybe that makes you a little bit more comfortable. I'm not going to be like, hey, tell me X, Y, and Z. And I'm not like trying to like get any skeletons out of your closet or, try to like have a aha, got you moment. And we're just having a conversation. So I think it's tough for me because, I've said this before, I think either online on social media or whatnot, but I'm kind of like in the middle of this whole like cancel culture, woke culture, all this other stuff. But I, at the same time, I'm not dumb enough to comment on any situation. I'm never going to comment on women's rights or Black Lives Matter or anything with the LGBT whatever. I can't think of the letters. And again, I'm being dumb, but like I'm not. I have no problem with any of that. But I can't speak of those because I don't live in those worlds.
Yeah.
So for me, again, to tie it back to what you're saying, that social anxiety, I think I have some of that too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a little bit more, and we've talked about this, I'm a little bit more relaxed with people, but I also think it is a comfort thing. I absolutely agree with that, that you can, if you know somebody and you're comfortable with somebody, I think it helps the situation. Cause I'll tell you the same thing. Like I've gone out like on a date with like a girl I just met, and I am the most quiet, like most serious person that you'll ever see. Like you'll be like, yeah, I'll put it perfectly. Like think of Sheldon, The Big Bang Theory. Like that would be me on like a first date. But like once I'm comfortable with somebody, I'm very, or if I go in with the mindset thinking like I'm not going to be like trying to get anything from any person. I'm not trying to get a date. I'm not trying to get a phone number. I'm not trying to, take a girl home, whatever the case might be. I just go in with the fact that, hey, I just want to have fun, and whatever that happens, no expectations. I find that works a little bit for me. Case in point, a friend of mine, Don, had a birthday party with him and his wife and a couple other people, and there was a lot of cute girls there. And we all went out to a hibachi grill. And I was like, I'm not expecting to like date any of these girls. They're cute. So there's other guys there. Maybe they're friends, maybe they're boyfriends, maybe there's other friends that just happen to commingle. And my buddy reached out to me after. He's like, you were so personable and you had such a great personality because everybody was engaged with you and wanted to talk to you. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, why can't I do that with girls that I like? You know what I mean? So I can kind of feel you on the social anxiety. And by no means am I a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so I can't really diagnose anything. But it's one of those things where I agree with you that I think it's the comfort. So, I mean, from your perspective, as far as having social anxiety, being an introvert, what are some of the hurdles that you face on a daily basis, just so I can kind of comprehend, what you're going through too?
I think it's just like I second guess everything that I say. I told you before, like if I see basically any female, but an attractive female, somebody that it doesn't even have to be like like I know nothing about them. If it's a stranger or even like a person that I know, like for some reason my mind just shuts off completely. Like I can give you an example today. I went to the gym. And I don't talk to anybody at the gym. Because I just want to go and work out. Like I'm not like super personable. Everybody's got their headphones in anyway. So like, if I feel like if you like try to figure out who has a headphone in and who doesn't, and try to talk to somebody random, like, plus, I mean, girls get hit on so much at the gym. It's ridiculous, especially if you're
best place to hit on a girl.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's like the worst place to hit on it. I mean, I get it, but like,
no,
if you're a girl,
I was agreeing
like,
with you. I'm agreeing with you.
If you're a girl, like you must hate going to the gym because like if you're like everyone's just looking at you and like trying to hit on you and like it's ridiculous. Like some guys are just crazy. But
I'll tell you a story later.
But not so me. Like I got done, like I was like wiping my machine down and like I didn't have my headphones in because like I was doing abs and I have these like little like buds and they fall out of my ear. So I just take them out. And I'm going to like wipe my machine off, and there's a girl that like I have absolutely no idea who this girl is. Like and she was like, "Oh, hey, you came back to the gym," and I was like, "Yeah," and that was it. And that was it. Like I just walked away, and I was like, "Dude, why the hell didn't I like? I don't know who you are. I don't know why you know me, but like my mind just shut off. Like like a minute later, I was like, why didn't I just say like, hey, what's up? Like yeah, or like even ask like a question, like say like any like follow up that with any conversation whatsoever.
Right,
like
just open it
up.
Like
I don't know who this person is. Like why is this cute girl saying I don't know who this is. I don't like. Did I ever talk to her? Like, but I'm like, how would I have ever talked to her? Like, but like I like walk away like a minute, and I like 30 seconds later, I'm like, dude, that was so awkward. Like, what the fuck? That girl's never gonna talk to me again.
Well,
And like, I'm like, I feel like that was like a missed opportunity to have an actual conversation with a female, which never happens. Like, so I don't, but it's like, so I feel like every social conversation is just awkward to me. Like, I second guess it. I want everything to go perfect. Like, I don't feel like I have any opportunities to talk to people. So like, for me, it's like, I have to excel at them to maybe get another opportunity to have another conversation, or else like, I don't know. I just feel like my mind just shuts off and I have no like ability to talk to people that I don't know. But then there's other situations like I went to a place today and like there was a girl that was helping me out. I went to a place like a nutrition place just to like weigh myself to see how much of a fat slob I am, to maybe get motivated to go to the gym. And I happened to like there was a girl that was like helping me out, and like I know that she's just being friendly because like that's her job, that's what you're supposed to do in retail. But like I had a normal like an actual conversation with her, and she was like fairly attractive, like nice girl, like. And I left, and I was like, why can't I? Like you said, I was like, why can't I do that with everybody else? Like, dude, that's such nonsense. Like, she was cute. I mean, she was really nice, and like I had an actual conversation, but like it's very rare that that happens. And like I don't know. I just feel like because I'm like, if we really want to get into the deep depths of this, I don't know if I want to go here or not.
Yeah, it's up to you. I want you to feel comfortable.
Because I'm perpetually single and never, like you said you were trying to go on I've never been on a date with anyone in my life. So you want to extrapolate that to wherever you want to take that.
We can. We'll put a pin on that.
Word, extrapolate, by the way.
That's a great word. That is a great word.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I like using big words.
So let's stop right there. Though. So I want to go back to the gym thing that you were just talking about. So here's I don't want to say a tip because I don't want to like be like, oh my God, I'm like a dating coach. That's not me. But just from a conversation standpoint, now that you know what she looks like.
Yeah, but I don't, because she had a mask on for one, and two, I don't even get eye contact. So there's no way I'm gonna be able to pick her back out again. Okay, I don't know who this is.
So yeah, I mean, I think your issue, like you were just saying, is at the nutrition place. Maybe you felt because you've gone there a couple times, you've had some interactions, you're more at ease, you're more comfortable with somebody
I've never seen that girl before. So.
What, at the nutrition place or at the gym?
Yeah. At the nutrition place. But I haven't been there in 6 months. So,
but you've been there before. You know the layout. You know.
Yeah.
It's almost like you go in with the mindset saying, "I have X, Y, and Z to do. This is my purpose for being here. I know I'm going to have to talk to somebody based on what I'm trying to get out of this, out of this interaction. So whether it's getting your measurements, your BMI, your weight, all that other stuff, you're going to still have to talk to somebody. You go in with that expectation where somebody else approaches you when you're not expecting it. It's a different type of interaction where one is, okay, this is what I'm expecting. To your point, you overthink. So, and I'm somewhat in the same boat because before I even do something, I try to play out in my head like 6 or 7 different ways of it can play out. So I'm in the same boat. But
I rehearsed our conversation today.
Did you? Well,
yeah. Well, I was in the shower.
Oh, okay. Totally weird, but that's okay.
I was like, I'm going to try to figure out what he's going to ask me, so that way I can figure out how I want to respond to it.
And that kind of goes right in the face of this conversation, man, because I just take where the conversation goes, and that's overall, that's what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to get out of the podcast. Is for me personally, if I'm a little bit more selfish, not only do I want to just interview people and try to make it entertaining, I also want to work on my own speaking skills, because I've been told by multiple different sources that my voice would be good for like some type of radio or broadcasting. And that's great. And I love that, but I'm also not great at talking to people within an interview without trying to be super serious. I have another podcast called Free Your Geek, where I basically talk about pop culture stuff, but I usually have a guest and it's almost like a format. Okay, from this time to this time, we're going to talk about this.
Right.
From this time, and it's great to have that all on paper. I just try to talk about that, but at the same time, while I'm producing it, I'm trying to watch the time. I'm trying to make sure that all the volume is correct on the mixer. I'm trying to produce at the same time I'm trying to host. So I just wanted to do something a little bit different to say, let's just have a conversation. Let's work on like improv, for lack of a better term. Let's just go through this conversation, talk, have fun, get serious, get deep, wherever the conversation goes. I'm cool with that. I just want to get to a point where A, I can work on my own skills, and then B, have some conversations with my friends, learn more about them. Like I found out your dad is from the South today. That's something I never knew about you. And I've known you for, as I said, 27 years, which is
Yeah.
not the case. But no, it's one of those things where the last, 17 years or so, I never knew that about you. And,
Yeah,
and that's cool.
we haven't known each other. I mean, we knew each other for 17 years, but honestly,
we didn't really,
literally like we worked together for a little while, and then we were like
6 months.
the adult friends where you don't see each other for 3 years, and then you run into each other when you used to come and pop into an Olympia that I worked at. We'd say hi, and
right,
like we didn't really hang out, so which is probably partially my fault.
Well, no, but I want to talk about that too, because I think that's
you got a
very,
time
very
limit on
important.
this thing? We're going deep.
No, this is awesome. I love this. Yeah, we do have that. I do have one picture of us all bowling, and I don't know if I was wearing my Austin 316 or my Christian.
I don't even remember that. So.
I'll send it to you. As you, myself.
God.
I think it was both Kellys, if I'm not mistaken.
Kelly
and Kellyo, and then Marcus.
Kelly. Marcus Eubanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'll have to find that. I'll send it to you. I'll tag you in it if I can't find it, or I'll text it to you. But yeah, I agree with you to a certain point. I want to talk about hanging out and being friends as an adult, and then I want to talk about the dating thing. But I also want to point out that I'll have a different friend who, if you think, and I'm not going to call him out because I'll feel bad, but I think a lot of the self-doubt kind of runs with all kinds of guys. I think it's all like, and I hate using the term nice guys, but it's one of those things where like he told me once, right? Same here, bro. Same here. I totally agree. But he told me once that he even goes to the gym and he doesn't like getting on a treadmill next to a pretty girl because he doesn't want to see the girl looking at him and like sweating or being out of breath or out of shape. And I said to him, I said, dude, do you think that girl, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but do you think that girl even cares what you look like? She's concentrating on her own workout.
She's going to the gym right now because you can't be in next to anybody.
Right. No, this is like probably 2 years ago. But it's just one of those things. It's like people tend to overthink, and I think everybody has that to an extent. Like you do something, or you misspeak, or you mispronounce a word, or you're talking and you hiccup or burp or whatever, and it's just like you think that everybody's like looking at you now, and you made a big faux pas, and it's like all the attention's on you when. The truth is it's nothing like that. Everybody's wrapped up in their own shit to even like worry about like little things like that. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. I just think it's introspective. And like you said, we overanalyze, we overthink, we go into like all these like internal thoughts where we think the worst. And that's almost like a self-defense mechanism, because that's our brain trying to protect us, from embarrassment or anything else like that. I think it's got to get to the point where we need to train ourselves. And I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general, I think people just need to be more understanding that, it's okay to mess up or to not be quote unquote perfect or whatever the case might be. Not everybody's going to notice any, little scars, if you will. Like when I talk to some of my female friends, or even some of like the ones that, went through a breakup or whatever the case may be. And they'll say like, oh, well, look at this. I have a scar on this, or, my hip bones are too weird or anything. I'm making up horrible examples, but I'll say like, that is the thing. All your major faults that you think you have, or the imperfections, the guy that finally lands you and falls in love with you, that's what he's going to love most about you, is your perceived imperfections, because that makes you unique. That makes you stand out from any other girl out there. Not that everything necessarily has to be physical, but to me, it's a point where if a girl is unhappy, and this is going to sound like cliche woo woo, whatever, but I try to make every person I come in contact with, male or female, but specifically more the females, I want each one of them to feel, not, I don't want to say beautiful, but I want them to feel better. You know what I mean? Like have a better outlook on life, whether they're feeling down. And I don't mean to trivialize that, because I'll do the same thing. When you and I worked in retail, I do the same bit every time. And I'll put this out on the podcast. You walk up to a register, supermarket, Kohl's, Olympia, whatever the case may be. The person at the register goes, "Hello, how are you?" And then I always answer the same. I go, "I'm fine. How are you?"
Right.
And then they always go, "I'm good." So I said, I'll stop him. I said, "Stop right there. Don't, you're working. How good can you be?" And that breaks the ice every single time, because you're used to such a robotic, "How are you?" "I'm good. How are you?" "I'm good." Ring, ring, ring. That'll be $200. Give me your money and thanks. Have a good day. To break out of the system from what is the norm. And to your point that you made a little bit earlier, you hate dealing with, the customer's always right. You deal with a lot of like tough people in retail. I want to do the opposite. I could be having the best day. When I worked at Olympia, you get that one asshole customer in and it ruins your day because they're such a jerk. I'm trying to do the opposite. I want somebody to go home at the end of their shift and be like, "Oh my God, that guy was funny. That just made my day. That was like, the standout." And is it going to accomplish that? Probably not, but that's my mindset going in. I want to leave people better after they've met me. You know what I mean? Like, or at least in a happier mood. So that's my thought. I also want to kind of circle back and talk about hanging out as friends, as like adults and whatnot, because I think that's also important. And I think, to your point, it's very tough because, again, going back to what I just said before, everybody's wrapped up in their own shit sometimes that they can't even see. And I know you talked about, and I want to get into this too. There's so many things I want to talk to you about. But you write a blog, and we'll put that in the show notes if you want, that we can.
That means I'm gonna have to write another one soon.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, you're a good writer, and it's very much like following your trials, your tribulations, your thoughts, like just your thought process. I think it's a really well-written blog, kind of gaining insight into your mind sometimes. And I think that's awesome. But one of the things you mentioned in the blog is the fact that you talk like in the sense that you want to reach out to people, but you almost feel like, again, that's whether it's your brain overthinking, like if I reach out to them, oh, am I bothering them, versus, oh, well, why don't they want to reach out to me? And I think it's kind of like you're right. I think we all as a people have to be better at reaching out to our friends and keeping in contact, even if it's just a quick text message. Everybody's going to be less so now with Corona, but everybody, when they get back to a normal life, everybody's super busy, right? Unless you're playing video games all day, which I haven't done.
Unemployed.
Well, okay, so yeah, but that's not going to last forever. That won't last forever. That's going to last, until you find something you need to get, whatever, settle what you need to settle, and then you move on and you find something that fits you for your, mental space and whatnot. You take care of that, what fits your schedule. But I mean, the point is that whether you work Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, or you work a randomized schedule where you have random days off, it might take like 2 to 3 weeks to plan something. But it wouldn't hurt to be, hey, let's go hang out again. Not that the bar is the best place because I don't drink, but like, hey, somewhere social where we can meet other people, or especially in the summertime, like parks and, flea markets and all that fun jazz. I think it's fun just to kind of, walk around and talk to people. And that's what I'm going to do with you.
As someone who is an introvert.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to break you from that.
That doesn't sound like, walking around in the summertime. Yeah, that's fine. I need a lot of SPF, but that's fine.
We'll get you an umbrella.
So yeah, I always bring SPF 100 with me. But yeah, I don't know about. I don't know. I've never, probably because I have no practice. I've never enjoyed talking to people. It's probably from working in retail for so long, and you tend to get soured on most people because most people are not friendly. But I don't know. And plus I just get, like I said, I feel very anxious talking to people that I don't know. I feel like I don't know how to like break the ice or make myself sound interesting or anything like that. I don't have any pickup lines. I don't know how to do that.
All right, I'll tell you
Not that
this.
I'm trying to pick up everyone,
No,
but
but I think
like I don't know like how you like start a conversation. Like when I hang out with like the two friends that I do have, or three, uh, you know, I already know them. So like, and like most of the time the ones that I hang out with the best are the ones that will guide the conversation themselves. So I don't have to like bring anything up, and like we know each other already. So like, there's no like introduction or like anything like that. Like I don't know how, I don't even remember how I got to that point. Like I was like, like how did this happen? Like how did this actually happen? I think I worked with most of them, so which made it a lot easier to make friends. But like I don't know, I wouldn't go up to a random person and just be like, hey, what's up?
well,
And then if you say that, like what do you follow it up with? Like
well, that's what we're going to work on. But I was going to say there's 2 points I want to make: both the pickup line and how you start a conversation.
I don't want to sound like
Thing.
like I'm just trying to like hook myself up with every random girl. Like
No, but it doesn't have to.
I'm not trying to be like that. I'm trying to,
No, I get that, but I'm saying whether you're trying to introduce yourself to a girl, a pickup line, just say hi. Just going over, because from my experience, a lot of the stuff too is just when you show your personality, if your personality and their personality kind of vibe, you don't know that until you take the initiative. And unfortunately for guys are the ones that typically have to take that initiative, and that's okay. And I it's the effort that guys have to put in for meeting people. But I'm not even saying just girls at this point. I'm saying women, men, old people, young people, like just getting out there and kind of having a conversation, like can do so much for, not even for your confidence, just like being friendly. And I know, like you said, it's tough for you because you for so long in retail, you have just like the dredges of society as customers come. Sometimes, everybody wants everything and you have to deal with that. But to me, just having a general conversation and just a general introduction, I'll give you a perfect example. This is going to sound so cheesy, and it totally is. And this is a legit story that happened to me. I was traveling for work. I was in Pittsburgh. I was staying at a Marriott in Pittsburgh, and across the highway was a high-rise with a bunch of restaurants. I think it was called Cadillac Ranch, if I'm not mistaken. I ended up going to this restaurant, and I'm by myself, no other coworkers with me on this trip. I'm sitting at the bar. There's two really, like, they're younger, but they're at the bar, so they're at least 21, two pretty girls sitting there. I just, again, this is going to sound like a total pickup line. So I even prefaced it because, like we were talking about, I get in my head and I'm like, oh, these girls are going to think I'm hitting on them. I said, ladies, not trying to hit on you. This is my first time here. What do you recommend? And we started a conversation just based on, she's like, well, I like this. I like that. What do you like? Oh, I like spicy food. I typically can do anything with chicken or beef. I'm not a big seafood person, and that's it. Just branch out. It's kind of like what we're doing here. We pick a thread, we follow that thread, we open up, reveal our part of our personality, whatever the case that might be. And just, people are either going to like you or not like you. And, you just kind of roll with it, but I like I told you, I think for the most part, I know you have that experience from a customer service side, but I think to me, I think 99 point, I'm not going to say 0.9, but 99% of people will be nice to you. Yes, you might get that one, again, depending on where you are. Again, if you're at a sporting event, and somebody's been drinking heavily and they're like, leave me alone. Like, that's a whole different vibe than, or maybe they will be even friendlier. I mean, I've seen stuff on Barstool. What is it? Jets games with guys jumping through tables all the time. Is it Jets or Giants
games?
Bills. Thank you. Yes.
Bills Mafia.
Yeah. So again, you can run into those types of people too. So it's not, I just think honestly, what would help you, and I'll put myself out there on this podcast right now. If at any time, springtime, summertime, let's go out. Even if it's just, like I said, there's parks and stuff. It's kind of tough, to go to like a grocery store and like talk to people, but like a I think
That's a little sketch, but
right. No, but I'm saying Swansea does like an open air market. That's why I mentioned like a flea market too, because it's easy to like go there and just talk to the vendors. You know what I mean? Like talk to the vendors first. That somebody's selling something. Oh, that's cool. Oh, where'd you get that? That's a cool whatever. Like, or like you go to like some place that sells jerseys, right? Or even like when I'd come to you and talk to Olympia, like we'd be talking like sports or whatever. It's like you have that built-in network of something and what you can talk about. If you go in, everybody talks about, oh, the weather, what do you do for work? I'm referring more to a dating perspective here, but it's like it's almost like, and this is where I think you and I and other introverted people or textbook overthinkers can excel, is the fact that we can come up with questions that aren't the same questions that every other person would ask someone, even from like a dating perspective, like anything else. Like my big thing too is I like finding either a piece of clothing or something. Like when I see a woman with a tattoo, I'll be like, oh, that's really cool ink. Where did you get it done? And then that's not even a girl. It could be a dude too. Like if I like the art on their arm or their shoulder or their midriff or whatever, I'll ask them like, oh, that's a really cool design. Who did that for you? What do you like about them? How long did it take that to get done? It's already something that's unique about them, that it's not like, oh, you're really pretty, or I like your hair, or it's cliche. Like it's something different. And the tattoo thing is probably cliche now at this
like your
point.
sleeves, they're real big.
Right. Right.
Napoleon Dynamite, sorry.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. So you're a Napoleon Dynamite fan, John Heater fan.
Yeah, I was supposed to. I was mad. I was supposed to meet him. I think it was either last. I had tickets. No, it wasn't last year. Had to be 2019. They were having a Napoleon Dynamite. I think it was like the 10-year anniversary or something like that. So at the Zyterion, they were gonna show the Napoleon Dynamite movie, and they were supposed to have John Heater and the guy that played Pedro go to that, and they were gonna have like a Q&A, and I had front row seats, and I was gonna meet the two of them, and then John Heater was filming a movie and they canceled.
Oh,
and I was like, dude, I was so pissed off. I love that movie.
Is that the quintessential movie for you? What's your go-to movie?
No, the quintessential movie for me is Office Space. I've probably watched that 50 times. I absolutely love that movie. That one, 40-Year-Old Virgin, which personal.
Yeah, well,
any like I've watched Step Brothers a lot recently because I really got into that. So more of like comedy movies, ridiculous comedy movies, like old school, like Wedding Crasher and stuff like that. So
do you want to go do Karate in the Garage?
Oh yeah. Oh, with the bunk, we're gonna put the bunk beds together.
We made bunk beds, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
So much more room.
This a little bit more. Let's go
activities.
Yeah, more room for activities. Let's end on a happier note here. Let's talk about. We talked about movies a little bit. Let's segue into some music. And I want to touch upon, because one thing I do know about you,
we're gonna have a long conversation about my girl.
Well, we don't have to have a long conversation, but I just want to.
I mean, we can. I'll talk about her all day.
You could teach me so much, because as I think I told you, I know all of her like radio hits, but like you're definitely like a deep cuts person with her music too. But we're
talking about Taylor Swift, by the way.
Taylor Swift, yes, yeah. As I say, we're talking about Taylor Swift. She actually won at the Grammy.
Album of the Year.
There you go.
Album of the Year. She's the first female to win Album of the Year 3 times.
3 times. Yeah,
with 3 different. Yeah, so it was a country album, a pop album, and now Folklore, which is a folk album.
That's interesting. So what's
go ahead.
I want to say, what's the appeal to you? So from a male perspective, I mean, as a male, and I don't want to sound chauvinistic here. Obviously, she's a very attractive girl. She's very talented at what she does. I just don't think like her music is typically my style of music, which is, everybody's got their own style. So I want to know from your perspective, if, I think I even asked you some of the deeper cuts, like what song should I check out? But I also want to know, like, from your perspective, what is the appeal? Why does she speak to you the way that she does with her music?
I don't know. I mean, I was never a country fan, and like when she first came out, it was strictly country. I'm not sure. I just like I heard her first. I've been a Swiftie, which is our fan, what you're called if you're a ridiculously obsessed fan of hers. From the beginning, like I said, I was never into country music. I still don't really like country music that much. But there was something about her. As soon as the first song came out, I was like, oh, I gotta, like, I listened to it and it just hit me like, oh, like I gotta listen to more stuff from her. I think it's just like the whole experience. Like she writes her own songs, and yeah, most of them are about guys, which, you know, when you're a guy singing them, it looks pretty ridiculous. But I've been to her concerts, and I don't know. It's just like there's been times where like I went to one, and I should know which concert it was, but I think it was the 1989 tour, which is a few years ago. It's probably that she's had 4 albums since then. But I remember I was just having a really like rough week. I was like super depressed, like I was really depressed, and like even the day of, like my sister was supposed to go with me. She was sick. I was trying to scramble around to see if I could find anybody that wanted to go to a concert with me the day of. I was like, I don't know that many people. Like, somebody please take this ticket. I don't even want to. I wouldn't even charge you. Like, I found somebody that I worked with at Olympia that I was like, here, I'm not even going to charge you for this ticket. Like, I just need somebody to come with me to this concert. And like, then we ran late. I got stuck in traffic. I was just having like the worst day, and I don't even remember what, like, she sang some songs and like she spoke to the audience, and it literally, there's like 60,000 people there, and I felt like she was speaking directly to me, and like literally I was like, oh my god, like I felt so much better. Like you just had like a 5-minute conversation with your best friend, and like I think that's the biggest thing. Like she just connects with her fans so much, and like it's, you know, it's so cliched. Like everybody makes fun of her, but thanking, sounds like so ridiculous, like so ridiculously surprised when she wins, and like, you know, how she speaks and like everything like that. But I don't know, you just feel like she's just a normal person, even though she's totally not. But and
Well,
like
I
she's
think
like super
she's
talented,
relatable.
and like I don't know, her music, just I listen to her music and it's just like I just feel so like connected, and like so like I could be having the worst day. Like I'll leave my job and I'll be like, oh, that was such a rough day at work, and I'll throw her music in for 15 minutes and I'll be like, oh, okay, like everything's a lot better now. Like I need to go scream, sing a couple songs in my car, and everything's fine. And like I don't know, it's just, you just have that connection with some people. Like I have the same connection with Dave Matthews Band. Like I'm not all Taylor Swift. Like Dave Matthews Band to me does the same thing, which is the complete opposite spectrum. Like how can you like Taylor Swift poppy country doll and Dave Matthews Band, which is like rock, but it's the same thing. Like you go to a concert of theirs and it's phenomenal. Like
So I think it's just the power of music, the music
yeah,
that you find that speaks to you, that can alter, like you said, your mood or your mindset or whatnot. I think that's very, very powerful. I do want to ask, I'm going to take a guess here. Taylor's first country song, Teardrops on My Guitar, or is that
Tim
something?
McGraw.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that. The one I first heard
Yeah,
about Taylor
it was
Swift
Tim
was
McGraw first, and then I think the first big hit was
Teardrops on
Teardrops
My
on My
Guitar.
Guitar.
Yeah.
But she had a couple before that. It was God, I know Tim McGraw was the first one that
It's
came
all
out, but
good
that
because
was mostly
I'm gonna put
that
you
was
on
like
the spot
hardcore
here.
country.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Favorite. Let's go with favorite album and favorite song of Taylor Swift. Favorite
Favorite song
album.
of Taylor Swift is easy.
Okay, go.
Favorite song of Taylor Swift, the best song ever she's ever made and will ever make, is All Too Well. I
Okay.
highly recommend that song. If
I haven't
anyone
heard
has,
it. I'll have to check that out.
it's not all of her best songs are not released. She really, like, every album, there's probably 4 or 5 really good songs, and none of them are ever released. It's normally song 5
Okay.
on every album. There's a reason why, and I don't remember what it is, which is terrible, but every album, song 5 is normally the best song. All Too Well, I'll scream sing it every time I hear it. It's phenomenal. I went to the last concert that she had which was Loverfest. I went with a friend of mine, and I ended up we ended up eating and found out that we were like she was like also obsessed with Taylor Swift, and I was like, oh shit, like need to hang out with this girl.
Right.
And it was her first concert, so like I've been to every Taylor headlining tour, so I'm on 5. I was supposed to go to 6, but it got canceled. We did this for stupid virus, but I found out that like All Too Well was her favorite song, and unfortunately she didn't play it at the concert we went to. But because it was at Gillette, we were sitting in our car for probably like an hour and a half after the show, stuck in traffic because Gillette is the worst place to get in and out to.
Gridlock.
Unbelievable. So, but we came prepared. We had like snacks in the car, and we were just chilling and having a good time. So, after you get done, screaming your lungs out for the entire concert, you have no voice. But after the show was over, we just sat in my car, listened to more Taylor because apparently 2.5 hours of Taylor wasn't enough for us. And All Too Well came on, and we both I'm not a very good singer. Her voice is not that bad. But the two of us sang All Too Well in the car, and it sounded like perfect. And it was like, I was literally like, oh my God, like that was perfect. Like, it was like we had a moment in the car, and I was like, dude, that's phenomenal. And ever since then, I was like, I mean, I love the song anyway, but ever since then, like every time it comes on, I just think of like that moment in our car where like we were completely exhausted. Like we screamed our lungs out for the entire concert, and somehow like our voices sounded great for that one like 5.5-minute song, and like it just brings back like so many good memories. But it's widely regarded All Too Well as the best song that she's ever made. It's fantastic.
I love how music can like do that to you too. That's so awesome.
Album, album. I don't know.
All right, let's switch to Dave. Let's switch to Dave. I won't put that much pressure on. Best and worst song by Dave Matthews Band.
Oh God, I don't want to. There's so many. So
many good, so many bad.
I love Gray Street by Dave Matthews. I always scream that song. I don't know if I can name a worst one. I mean, obviously there's songs that you kind of skip over.
Let's do a skip.
So like Taylor's got some too, where I just like she'll play it in the concert, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know the words of this song because I don't listen to it. I don't really like it that much. But I'd say 95% of her music I love. There's a few songs that I just don't like, but I mean, it's the same thing with him. Like, I like a lot of his older stuff. Some of the newer stuff is not. So I mean, it's still good, but
I just made this connection too. My friend Jeff, who I talked about earlier, is also Dave Matthews is his favorite band, which is like, again, I was like, I need to introduce you guys at some point in time because I think you guys would get along really well.
I mean, we're Packers fans, so
there you go. You're Packers fans. You got Packers and Dave Matthews to talk about. It's great.
We can both shit on the Patriots. So
you can do that.
It's not as fun anymore because they suck. So
yeah, well,
it was more fun to hate on them when they were good.
Well, yeah,
I mean, we're pissed off all the fans. Now all the fans are Bucs fans. So
right.
I mean,
well, no, I'm still a tried and true Pats fan, but
but a lot of them.
It is what it is. It's Tom Brady's got to do what he's going to do. He's going to do what's right for him. And you know what? We had a good run for however many years. We were like almost always in the playoffs. So I can't complain. I think
I hate Tom Brady more than I hate the Patriots, to be honest.
There you go.
I can't stand that man.
No, so maybe you'll warm up to the Pats just a little bit now that Brady's no longer on the team. But
I mean, I do like Julian Edelman.
Yeah,
I've always liked Julian Edelman. I have a lot of respect for him. I actually like Cam Newton. So I don't completely dislike them, but I'll probably never go back to being a fan of theirs. I was at one point, and then they did my boy Drew Bledsoe dirty.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that. Plus the fans are just
no, the fan base is tough.
Fans are terrible, and the problem is the Red Sox fans are getting that bad, and I can't stand it.
Yeah,
it's making me like dislike the Red Sox, but I can't. I mean, I still love them, but the fan base, God, they suck.
Well, dude, be the change, man. Be listen. That's what I try to do. I try to just say like, hey, I don't want to be that stereotypical. Whatever your reservations are or preconceived notions might be about the fan. And I think, again, going back to what we've talked about, you and I have had conversations, I think, on Facebook or whatnot, where I'm saying something along the lines of, yeah, I don't disagree with, like, again, somebody starts arguing and I'm just like, I want to call this kid out so bad because he's being asinine. Like, you can't have a difference of opinion, or you can't have, it bugs me. So I'm probably not the best to have the fan base, because people think I'm not passionate because of it. And it's not the case. It's just, why can't people just like what they like, I did want to point out though, that real quick, you are a wrestling fan as well. So I want to point out that Google Fandango and then Google Julian Edelman. I swear to God, they're separated at birth. I swear to you, they're separated at birth.
Johnny Curtis.
Oh man, so good. So good. Well, wrapping up here, Adam, I want to thank you for being on the show. I would, you're always welcome to come back on. We can delve into part 2, but I think that's been a pretty good hour right now that we've been talking. So I just wanted to thank you for your time. Is there anything that you want to plug? Any like I said, I'll put your blog out there if you want me to share that out.
Other than the fact that I'm single and ready to mingle.
Listen, ladies, this guy's a good dude. So if there's any single women that are listening to the pod, reach out, send me a message. Send me a message on the pod.
Don't let my I'm unemployed, so that means I got plenty of free time for y'all.
There you go.
I still have, I'm still taking care of my bills, and this is my own apartment that I take care of, and I'm on my own here. No children, no baggage. Definitely no children.
Yeah. Well, So I was gonna say that you know of, but yeah. Let's put it out there. Let's put it out there. Let's put it this way. Ladies, if there is anyone interested in Adam, he's a good dude. He's smart. He's responsible. He has no baggage. And he's probably one of the most caring and considerate people that I've ever met. So,
and I love Taylor Swift.
Plus, he loves Taylor Swift. He can go to like all like these concerts.
Yeah, I need
with
someone to come. Whenever we do have concerts again, I'm going to need somebody to come to a concert with me. I mean,
So there you go.
I like other music too. Like y'all like I watched the Grammys last night. That was pretty phenomenal. I mean, Dua Lipa. Oh my.
Yeah.
If you don't know about Dua Lipa, you need to Google that.
I had to Google.
You need to Google that.
I had to. I'm such an old man. Old man. Stuff. It's so fun.
Could have put her on for 3 hours, and I would be perfectly content with that. Like,
that's hilarious.
She is unfair.
I'll have to check that out.
Not Silk Sonic. You want to look up that one too. Silk Sonic.
See, I'm gonna just send you a message
Bruno
after this.
Mars and Anderson .Paak. We can talk about music all day, man. I'm big.
Yeah, well, maybe the next time you're on.
I got all my Drake CDs. I'm well versed in this.
The next time you're on, I'll have you educate me on all things music. That'll be our next show.
I mean, especially since the Grammys just happened, so we had to get that. You should go Google that performance of WAP by.
I know that one. That one's on TikTok like crazy.
And, that was pretty ridiculous on TV. They had to put that on at 10 o'clock
because put the kids to bed. Yeah, I'm already seeing stuff on Facebook and social media about how it's ruining children, all this other stuff. I don't want to go down that negative connotation, negative road right now.
Because nobody knew what WAP was before that performance. Yeah,
that's right. It stands for woke ass people, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, my sister didn't know what it was back then.
That's funny. Yeah.
What? She's like, yeah, I don't know what that. What does that song mean? I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, you're older than me. Like, I don't want to have to describe this to you. Like, I'm good. We don't.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I tried to explain it to my cousin's wife because it was a TikTok trend over whatever. Like, and she's like, she looked at me. She's like, this is disgusting. And she's like 10 years younger than me. And I'm like, okay, so it's not a generational thing. I don't know. It's just a personal thing. But
I don't really like the song. But I mean,
hey, the videos, the TikToks are entertaining, at least, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have TikTok.
Oh, count yourself lucky, sir.
Yeah, I know. I've been told that, if you want to waste your entire life, you can go on TikTok, but that's I still like Facebook, which apparently ages me completely. So
I think a
lot of the young people don't even have. A lot of the young people, I sound like I'm like 80 right now. Young people.
Yeah, there you go. It's a generational thing, man. We're the Facebook generation. The next generation's like the TikTok generation, and then
or Instagram
but
the Gram.
Yeah, the gram. or you have your Finsta accounts, which I
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah, I've been trying
Yeah.
to. I have there's a girl that I worked with that's like 21, and I know her Finsta name, and she refuses to accept me on there. And
That's
like her
funny.
excuse before was,
We
well,
work
I put
together.
a lot of like personal stuff on there, and like we work together. Now it's just so every time I see it, I try to hit follow, and then I get rejected.
That's
It's like,
well, that's
like
going to be the
what, like
case.
I don't understand. Like I'm not like we don't work together. Like there's nothing on there that I haven't seen. Like, come on.
Well, that's true. I
Like,
mean, maybe it's
like
just
let me like come on. I mean I get it. Like you don't, but like just let me follow. Like I don't get it.
yeah. I mean, I can't. Yeah, it could just be a comfort thing. I don't know.
Whatever.
That's funny though.
I just follow. I just try to follow just to aggravate her. I'm like, oh, it's like popped up again as somebody I might know. Follow.
So yeah.
Reject.
So
Ah,
actually, that just brings up my other point. You have an Instagram account, right?
I do. It's my name.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in the show notes too. So if
There's absolutely nothing on it. So
no,
other
but if
than like
anybody wants,
selfies of
if
me and like my
listen,
my sister's dog and like pictures of every time I hang out with a female friend, I take a selfie to make myself feel better.
there you go.
But if the ladies look at that, no, I'm not dating any of those girls on there.
Well, that's
They're
what I'm
all-
saying. If anybody wants to slide into those DMs, I might as well put
Yeah,
your
that's
I'll
fine.
put your handle out there if that's cool.
Handle.
So your handle, your IG handle, I think that's what they call it. I don't know. I'm super ancient. But again,
Yeah,
Adam,
me too.
thank you so much. To kind of go out, what I'm going to have people do at the end of each podcast, I'm going to have them say, "My name is blah 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 blah, first and last name, and this has been my aimless conversation." So when you're ready, just say, "My name is Adam Belue, and this has been my aimless conversation."
My name is Adam Belue, and this has been my aimless conversation.